Thanks for staying with us here on TVC Breakfast. It's now time to look at the headlines on the front pages of the Nigerian newspapers. And if I have first with me here is the Punch newspaper with a kicker, 10-hour rainfall. Businesses grounded, house collapses as flood overtakes Lagos. And the writer reads, 7 rescued from collapsed building. Flood-induced traffic disrupt movement in Lagos, Ogun. And also, Southeast leaders step up moves to free Nnamdi Kanu father, son, remanded for allegedly stealing 75 million naira from Lagos firm. And above the nameplates, National Assembly scores federal government low on budget implementation. $1.5 billion oil sector divestment deals completed. This is according to the federal government. Customs intercept 1.6 billion naira military wares, rifles from Turkey. And on the ear of the newspaper, Labour, private sector protest as discos hike tariff again. Next is the First News newspaper. Relocate to higher grounds. Lagos government urges residents in flood-prone areas as torrential rain paralyzes Lagos, submerges homes, causes building collapse. Ogun, police rescue 3 Indians, 1 Nigerian, kill 2 suspected kidnappers. Employee awaits sentencing after pleading guilty for gambling with employer's 900,000 naira. Interesting stuff. I didn't discuss Nnamdi Kanu's release with Southeast governors. That's according to former President Olusegun Obasanjo. And on the bottom strip, shocking tragedy. EFCC operative commits suicide in Abuja. Above the masthead, Senate raises the alarm over influx of substandard fuel in Nigeria. Southeast Reps Caucus joins call for Nnamdi Kanu's release. Democratic leaders rally round Biden amidst debate criticism. Next is Nigerian News Direct. Lagos floods, residents, workers, commuters lament economic paralysis as Lagos state government calls for calm, promises swift response. Trash in flood water. Lagos government identifies, takes action against culprits. Area boys arrested for extorting 100 naira pedestrians at makeshift bridge. Now, corrupt elements recruiting students to take up arms in planned protest, as according to EFCC. LSETF creates 221,172 jobs in 8 years. As Sanwo-Olu calls for collaboration to tackle unemployment. Abiodun secures federal government partnership for rehabilitation of 14 roads. Ban on diesel importation, best way to prevent dumping of substandard petroleum products, Senate committee. That's about it for the Nigerian News Direct. Next is Daily Independent. Federal government unveils model to realize planned $1 trillion economy by 2030. And then Benue governor imposes 24-hour curfew on Ukum local government area. Bandits kill 7 in Ukum, 4 in Gwen West local government areas. You see that on page 29. Federal government moves to avert Sano-Naso strike. Slates meeting with officials. Tinubu advocates collaborative governance at Reps Legislative Open Week. Despite protest, discos again, high tariff for Band A customers. And above the nameplate, Senate probes importation of poisonous diesel, says heads will roll. Southeast senators meet AGF, ask Tinubu to free Nnamdi Kanu. Next is This Nigeria. 9 trillion naira capital project, Senate carpets federal government over poor implementation, constitutes panel to probe NNPCL over hazardous petroleum products importation. Minister explains delay in electric CNG vehicles policy. Judiciary needs to function unhindered, that's according to the CJN, saying injustice anywhere threatens global justice, says appeal court president. On the bottom strip, group petitions EFCC, ICPC against El-Rufai, cholera, Cross River rejects inclusion among affected states. Federal government unveils initiative to transform Nigeria into $1 trillion economy by 2030. And on the ear of the newspaper, 5 discos hike Band A electricity to 209.5 naira per kilowatts per hour. Next is the Daily Times. Releasing Nnamdi Kanu for peace to reign in Southeast. Senators beg Tinubu, says economy, social life in Southeast has suffered enough unrest due to continued incarceration of the IPOB leader. Obasanjo denies discussing Kanu's release with Southeast governors. Terrorism. Senate rejects Oshiomhale's call for oversight of military budgets, urges federal government to direct deployment of modern technology. And above the nameplate, court orders closure of 2 coils linked to 9.6 billion naira, $9.6 billion PNID scam. Lagos calls for calm as state experiences over 9 hours rainfall. No going back on our strike. Or your nurses and then midwives. Federal government to transform Nigeria to $1 trillion economy by 2030. And at the bottom strip, suspended Yobe PHC boss admits therapeutic food theft. Begs. Next is The Matrix. Nnamdi Kanu calls for embattled IPOB leader resound. Why Tinubu must release Nnamdi Kanu, Southeast senators. And then we also have exploring investment opportunities. And then federal government to collect 7.5% VAT on crypto transactions. And on the above the masthead, we have Nigerian government launches initiative to transform into $1 trillion economy by 2030. Lagos underwater, state government calls for calm. Next is Salient Times. Anti-EFCC protest. 259 CSOs point former governors, 2 ex-ministers as brain behind planned action. Warn organizers to desist. It's another hashtag EndSARS violence in disguise, says coalition. EFCC reacts, says corrupt individuals behind the move. My monthly allowance as speaker was 25 million naira. Former speaker Yakubu Dogara saying there. Federal government summons Sano Nasu to meeting over strike threat. I didn't discuss Nnamdi Kanu's release with Southeast governors. Obasanjo. Above the nameplate, deploy modern equipment against insurgents. Senate tells Army. Band A customers to pay 209.5 kilowatts, 209.5 naira per kilowatts per hour. All right, next is Don't Set Nigeria, Daily News Hub with the screaming headline. Don't Set Nigeria Ablaze, 259 CSOs warn intending anti-EFCC protesters. IPOB, Kanu ready to accept conditional release, says Abaribe. Next is Vanguard newspaper. Healthcare crisis. High cost of drugs to persist as local production flops. And then CBN warns banks against rejecting dirty, mutilated Naira notes. Above the nameplate, we have Disco's hike Band A tariff to 1.3%. Unibank students block Benin Lagos Road over power outage. And lamentations, chaos as flood grounds Lagos. And lastly, here is terrorist kidnap Kaduna judge, kill son, demand 300 million naira ransom.
I begin here with the Blueprint newspaper. Nigerians bought about 20 trillion naira fuel generators in 2023, according to the federal government. Kanu ready to abide by any conditions for his freedom. Southeast, the senators are saying. The writer there says peace in Igbo land depends so much on his release. Count me out of negotiations, says Obasanjo. No breaches, illegal entries in NIN database. NIMC clarifies. And then 30% of petrol and poultry farms shot in the first quarter of 2024. The story is making the front page of the Blueprint newspaper. To The Guardian, worries as e-waste import rises. More Nigerians resort to used items. Over 500,000 tons of discarded appliances are processed in the country every year. Invisible e-waste hit $10 billion in essential raw materials and recoverable. NRC raises the reef for Band A by 1.3% amid calls for reduction. I did not discuss Kanu's release, Obasanjo says. That's on page 29 of The Guardian. And on the minimum wage negotiations, NLC fumes as governors move to hijack negotiations. School pupils swept away. Commuters stranded. Properties submerged in Lagos, Ogun downpour. EFCC accuses public servant of diverting MDAs on spent allocations. The story is on the front page of The Guardian. So the Nation, customs impounds guns, drones, others at MMIA. Items shipped from Turkey, one suspect held. Federal lawmakers not earning jumbo pay, Ugara says, and Bande electricity consumers tariff now 209.50 naira kilowatts per hour. And to the leadership, ASU wants of non-academic staff begin the strike today. The writer there says, federal government yet to meet our demands. Lecturer says, we are in wide consultation to avert the strike. Federal government targets $1 trillion economy by 2030 launches initiative. The story is making the front page of the leadership to the Platform Times. The screaming headline there says, suspected cultist storm Taswed exam hall, mother final year student on his birthday. And terrorists kill son demand 300 million naira ransom over Kaduna judge. These are the stories. The stories and more making the front page of our Platform Times. Very quickly to the Voice of Liberty, escalated insecurity. Senators lampoon security agencies amid allegations of diversion of funds by service chiefs. Membership tussle not reason for delayed resumption, according to the Kano Assembly. To the New Telegraph, Akpabio blames Goza suicide attacks on security intelligence failure. Haps on preventive security. Senators stress use of modern war facilities. Return of suicide bombings worries the Christian Association of Nigeria. And Nigeria needs collective effort to surmount its challenges, according to the president. Those are the stories making the front page of the New Telegraph. To the Daily Trust, the Nigerian signs $150 billion Samuel deal. The writer there says, cleric CSO's furious. It's not about same-sex marriage. Minister's aide says, and the National Assembly did not agree or consider this agreement. House of Rep member Yusuf. And finally, on the Sporting Life, Mikel Obi needs help. That's a feature story there on page 6. Olise screams. And Man United rejected Musiala Cisco. And Daya Jones, Everton for £15.6 million, buying close to 47 million euros. Palinha signing. It will be Barcy model Fulham's New Jersey. These are the stories making the front page of the Sporting Life, Ibrahim.
Right, I believe that our viewers are up to date with